All right, now the United States has seized a fifth Venezuela-linked oil tanker loaded with oil. The tanker known as Olina was seized in the Caribbean Sea by the Americans. Now, the U.S. Southern Command has put out the video of their raid on social media. They claim that these Marines were launched from the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier for a pre-dawn raid. As you can see, these American Marines boarded this fully loaded oil tanker and then obviously took control of it. The U.S. Southern Command has said that they apprehended the Olina without any incident, and that, quote, there is no safe haven for criminals or sanctioned Venezuelan ships. Now, Olina is in fact the fifth oil tanker that the Americans have seized in recent weeks. The first, of course, was the Skipper, which has been categorized as a VLCC, a very large crude carrier. And when the U.S. seized that ship, they said that it was a sanctioned vessel that was used to transport Venezuelan oil all the way to Iran. On the 20th of December, the Americans seized the Centuries. It was another supertanker which was flying the flag of Panama. It was intercepted in the Caribbean east of Barbados. Back then, Venezuela had labeled these seizures to be serious acts of international piracy on the part of the Americans, who were effectively, according to Nicolas Maduro, who was still in Caracas at that time, was Americans stealing Venezuela's oil. Since then, Americans have, of course, captured Nicolas Maduro and have taken him away to the United States of America. Now, there was a bit of a lull before and after the U.S. abduction of the Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, but earlier in the week, the Americans seized two more oil tankers. Firstly, there was the M. Sophia that was seized in the Caribbean. The United States claimed that this was a stateless, sanctioned dark fleet vessel, and it was said to be carrying oil all the way to China. And the other seizure, which took place on the 7th of January, was that of a ship called Marinera. The ship earlier had gone by the name Bella 1. This capture was pretty unique because the ship was seized all the way in the northern part of the Atlantic near Iceland. The ship had broken the U.S. naval blockade around Venezuela, but the U.S., of course, gave chase for 2 weeks until it was seized, and there was a Russian submarine, another warship close by. The Marinera was a Russian-flagged tanker, and there was a Russian submarine that had been deployed to safeguard the ship, but the Russian submarine did not intervene when the Americans, of course, rappelled down from the helicopter to seize the vessel. At least about 3 Indians were amongst the 28-member crew of the Marinera, and there were also 2 Russian crew members. Moscow has confirmed that 2 Russian crew members have now been released after Russia made a request to the American President Donald Trump. Now, the United States has seized its fifth tanker, the Olina, and earlier in the day, the American President Donald Trump reiterated that all Venezuelan ships will have to stay in place. He said that the United States and Venezuela's new interim government will work together to rebuild the country's oil infrastructure, but the blockade has not been lifted. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.